Hello, I'm Gareth Davis, and this is my Mash 50. I've got to continue. I've got to fit a new coil, got to change the rectifier. I've got a new spark plug with 3 anodes, and I've got to put the ECU back on and put all the wiring back together, because the AC from the CDI had been removed from the bike. It had melted at the plug because the coil had shorted out when the crank bearing's gone. I got the new stator in last episode, so I just wanted to get on with the rest of the jobs. So may as well do this coil then. So I noticed that the coil had rust on the fastener, which was the screw. So I don't think this set will have a replacement bolt small enough. I think it's just a size difference. Check just in case. It is different. I have to see if I've got anything else. So I don't want to be using rust, which will create a bad connection. So I'm just going to sand the paint from where it mounts to the frame of the bike. So I've just been reading online, and since I plan to buy this bicycle, there's been changes on my grandad rights. Apparently they're discriminating, allegedly, against my grandad rights. I'm a key lord, which gives me the privileges of all my rights and liberties that are not to be messed with, and I believe grandad rights would come under that. I passed my test and was old enough to gain the grandad rights, and what they've done now, instead of it saying it must weigh, the rider and the bicycle must be under a certain weight, and the bicycle must start its life as a 50cc. Today, I just checked now, and it's saying one place it doesn't mention the weight, another place it says 425 kilograms, another place it says 350 kilograms, and on one place it also says that the bike must not have any engine bigger than 50cc. So that itself is indirectly discriminating me, allegedly, because I'm being treated as a child. That is for a 16-year-old with a CBT. I am an adult, I'm an advanced driver, I've got CPC, I'm a professional driver. I've been riding these 50s since I was 16. May not have been mine, it might have been my girlfriend's or my mate's, but you know, it's not the point. And my whole point of buying this is because it started its life as a 50cc. I'm now 48, I've got a lot of experience, and I feel that I can put, it's a straight swap, it's just like unbolt this engine and put in a 250, maybe a 450, but I'm not 100% sure on the 450 because it's got like an oil tank here and a couple of oil feeds, so it'll take a bit more work. So I'm going to write a letter to the Welsh Government and British Government complaining about my rights and liberties as a key lord being infringed on and being discriminated under age, because I took it in great diligence reading it from the actual licensing people. Now this website is not having the information, it's a government website rather than the DVLA government site, and the information is not correct anymore. So I'm okay, this is a 50cc, I've got AM and I've also got P. But it's not giving me the room to progress as a rider, as it should do. That was the whole point of Grandad Rights, is that with my age and experience that I could have a bigger engine. You know, because I feel driving at 30 miles an hour is dangerous. I want to actually travel at road speed, so I don't have a lorry coming round the corner at 50 miles an hour with a lorry coming the other way and I'm round the corner at 30 miles an hour. It's just dangerous. And obviously the point of two lorries is there's no room for manoeuvre because they've got the mirrors, they've got to be apart from each other for the mirrors not to clash. That means they've got to be right in the hedge, which sometimes knocks off the inside mirrors. I'm also a lorry driver, class 2. So it's really upsetting. I've literally been distressed. I've spent thousands on this bike now. By the time I bought the bike, just 4-year-old, and I've replaced every part on it virtually, but it feels like every part, and to find out that now I can't advance by putting a different engine in, which under the old requirements that I read before I bought the bike, which can't be much more than 2 years ago, I've got learning difficulties, which is sequential memory, so I can't pinpoint the exact date that I last checked the classifications on the license. But checking it now, they're saying not allowed to have more than 50cc, and P is up to 31 miles an hour and AM is up to 28. So it's very distressing. Obviously it's design speed, which is not speed limit on the road, so there doesn't seem to be much interpretation of that other than AI, which is pointing out that that is the design speed of the designer, not the speed limit on the road. So who knows? So I'm going to send this letter to the government complaining about the discrimination and the loss of rights, and see what can be done, because I don't find it uncomfortable, and I do find it distressing. But that's not your problem, but I thought you'd like to hear my opinion on it. Right, so let's get this coil on. So we've got one good screw. I wonder if let's try this box. I think that's as big as everything else. They are, unfortunately. I've got smaller nuts. That's a shame. I wonder if I can. I honestly thought this would have had smaller ones. Oh, now there's a better one. That's the right size. That was from one of the fastenings for something, so I'll use that as long as it's long enough to go through, which looks like it will. There'll be nice contact with them. So I've got my eyelet and my spade, female spade, which needs to go on. Where does the coil go? Goes that way. On this coil they're all nice and clean, unlike on the previous one, which had all rusted out. Trying to move all the spare looming. So we will want the eyelet fastened on. Just trying to locate the hole. The eyelet, the bolt through. These nuts have a Phillips head on them, or a posi drive. So tighten them up with a screwdriver first. Oh, no, that thread doesn't want to go any harder than a screwdriver. That one's alright. But we do have this screw that is not rusty, so I'll use that one, so we've got a bit more engagement depth, because that one didn't like going tight. As you see, it's stripped out on the end there. As soon as I started to tighten it up, nice and tight. That ended up alright. Let's get that spade on. And we've got that, which goes down to here, to the plug. I think I'll change the plug whilst we're at it. Now, it is a Chinese plug, so it's an unknown for me, being in the United Kingdom. It's quite a nice plug. It's got triple anodes, but it is, you know, when they coat things to make them look nice, you know, it can be, I'll show you now in a minute. I've got to see if it fits as well, to be honest. But as it came with the stator, I thought it might. Well, that's quite a small plug, isn't it? Well, that's a lot longer, isn't it? Is it the same thread, or is that? I think that's a larger thread as well. Don't think it will actually fit. But you see what I mean? It's got that nice coating, and the end is able to be taken off as well. That's a shame. Yeah, it's definitely looking bigger, isn't it? Okay, so we can't have the fancy plug that came with the stator, unfortunately. Not too tight. Now the question is this resistor cap on the HT lead, is it for bare post, you know, without that nipple on top of the plug, or is it, well, it sounds like bare plug. I heard it going over the thread. There we are. So that's the coil and plug fitted. That's another thing. Rectifier. Right, where's my tool? So I've been losing everything again. And the worst thing is, me checking all these changes in license category has meant it's now 3 o'clock in the morning and I've started filming, and it should have been after I wake up from my nap from eating my tea. And instead I've been checking and looking at everything and getting ready for a letter to see why on earth they're doing this to me. So the obvious difference There's 5 and same plug and same pattern, but there is a difference, unless maybe that's orange and maybe I'm seeing it as pink, but I thought it was pink, and apparently that's different. And the feel of this heat shield, it's a lot thinner, as you see. Feels lighter. The heat sink's not as thick. Yeah, it's got a CE certificate, but this went that way. So yes, melted plug was that one, so we'll do it that way. Okay. Now I normally would be changing the plugs on the bike, but my new plugs and pin kit got lost in the post, so I haven't received that. So I may just remove the plastic of the pin, of the plug, stick the pins together with heat shrink for now till the plugs turn up. So I can re-pin and plug them. See, that's the melted one there. They're right in there, but the plug's not very happy looking. They all match up. I believe I must make careful that this loom is inside the bike, unlike this over the top here, because I'll have to go through there. Yeah. Just removing the 10mm bolt that was holding the bracket previously for the rectifier. Which has the second mounting point for the elastic strap that holds the DCI. So that's got to be aligned. Question is, will the melted plug of the bike loom fit the rectifier? Feels like it's going together. When I pulled it apart, I had to cut the bit that holds it together off just to get it to separate. But that seems to be back on now. Just gotta pop the loom inside. That's the rectifier back on, so we've just got the ECU, the loom. The ECU is quite easy, it's just 3 bolts under the battery tray, and then the 2 cables through the frame of the bike. Well, not the frame, you know. Right, let's get that inside the bike. That one will have to come out as well. Yeah. That goes inside in there. And that's the clip that holds the stuff. Open that up. Separate the side stand sensor. I think at this point, a lot of it I just want to get pulled up under there. Because some of it is going to go to the other side of the bike, like fuse and stuff like that. That one there. That's got to go under there because let's go into the DCI, CDI. I'm supposed to have the loop on. Lift this out so I can get these plugs up, because that's the ECU plug. Better quality. Don't know if it's being worked on, but as I say, it's not the white type. I've got to get other plugs to that's that. Just looking for, oh yeah, that'll be relay probably, yeah. So that's definitely over there. 2-pin plug, where will that be going to? To get that through to the other side. No, one is the fuse, one is the relay, 2-pin plug. I'm not 100% sure on at this point in time. Oh yes I am. It's the brake sensor. So that's across there, that's up to the CDI. That needs a new loom fitting. These two, they match wire colours, yep. That'll be the starter solenoid. That can go under that. And so this jumper is so that it's manual and not electronic speed controller for gears, apparently, according to the old chat GPT. Run that across, plug it in. Take it all back under. So what I'm looking for now is the plugs for the indicators, brake light, which is hiding from me at this moment in time. What's this down here? I think it's basically managed to push itself down the arch. It needs to slide up the arch. There we are. So they can all be reconnected. 2 greens, 1 brown, 2 pink. We've only got 1 pink. A bit strange because there's 2. So we've got spade type. Oh, that's we'll receive 2 greens. We have 2 green bullets, which are indicators. So what is the other one? That's orange and green, so I'll take the blue there. What's the blue for? What's the unusual here then? 1, that's that one, and that one. So the big fat one is your brake thingy. I guess this will be a matter of checking if they're working once you put the ignition on, because they're bulbs, so it won't matter if they're backwards. Seems like one brown, one blue. Okay, with two green. Okay, so we'll put the green to green, the other green to the other green with a double terminal. We've got one orange going to orange, so I'll put that one to the brown. Not sure if that's correct. That leaves us with another green, so I can go into that green. That leaves a brown. Maybe brown should be brown. Orange to blue, maybe. That's what the difference is. I honestly thought they'd match up colour-wise, but not quite. But that'll have to be changed around. She's nice and easy, just when the ignition's on, the battery's on, and check the right's working, left's working, brake light, tail light. So we've got the rectifier on, so it's just the ECU to be bolted up now. We can pull the wires through so we can plug them into them looms that we pushed in, because obviously the seat goes on here, so the loom has to be inside the bike. So we've got the coil fitted, we've got the rectifier fitted, we've got the loom back roughly where it's supposed to be routed. We need to double check that these are correct and pull the waterproof shield back over them. We'll have to plug this plug back onto the relay, which I'm doing this second. There we are. And there's this, which then I'll take that red wire, open it up, connect it back up. Oh, they even have a spare in there. That's quite good. Let's just try and get the fuse out the housing, so put the contact on the end of the fuse and slip it back into the housing. For some reason it's done it at the end, but this end is resisting me at the moment. There we are, it's gone in there. Click that back on. Oh, the cable for the brake sensor, that goes down there then. does that rotate that way? There we are. Still need the battery for when we're finished. So now we've got wire up the stator, melted plug, missing AC wire. And I think we're pretty much done. Put the tank back on, connect the fuel pipe, put the battery on, and go through the checks. So, what have we got here then? I found a plug. It's coming from the loom at the same point as the stator. There was another wire. That's obviously that one going up to the stock, so that's not it. Now, was that unplugged? Was there nothing to it? And that's all connected. Is that a spare plug, or have I missed something? I hate not knowing everything about it. So that goes to the battery. What about that sensor on the carburetor? That's that wire. Goes up to that, which is this way here. So that's nothing. White, yellow and green cable, 2-pin. Near the stator wiring. Just wondering if I've misplaced a cable somewhere. It's probably the brake pedal wire there. It's like a green and a yellow. Interesting. Wonder where near the plug for that could be. Oh, it's not going to be anything to do with the ECU or anything, is it? Where did I place the ECU? I think that was just the one plug, which it is. Unplugged. What's that? Oh, that seems to extend it to the brake switch for some reason. Right, I don't actually know. I'm going to have a cup of tea and a cigarette, and then we can move on to fitting the ECU and maybe fitting the state of wiring. Now we do have a new plug for this, and we could just plug it in there, but we are missing one wire here, which I've put in a pin here, so you take that down to there, but we don't have a male spade to go inside that plug. But I do have an auto electrician plug in next to it, put heat shrink over it. I was gonna double up the wire so it had 2 pins and make use of the 6 locations, but I don't have the 2, and I'd have to add an extra spade to this, so it'd be 2 wires off 1, just so that the melt point has twice the ampage capacity. Now, I don't know if people know the AC from the stator, AC wire is, AC electricity is supposed to be a solid wire, whilst DC voltage is a multi-core wire. That's why house wiring is solid core, you know, it's just a piece of copper, and DC wiring is multi-core. Like your speaker wire, as you're probably more familiar with. Oh, that's really confused me now, whether I've mislaid a plug somewhere. I can't see it. Oh, give me plenty of time to investigate anyway. Anyway, after my cup of tea and cigarette, I've decided to call it a night, because it's 4:30 in the morning, which means the video's long enough, so I'll just quickly edit it together, get it uploaded for you. Please like, comment and subscribe. Subscribing is more important to me than anything. Here's the plug, that'll go in there. Then wires are going there, except for the one that's missing there, which I'll use heat shield on the normal auto fitting for a car. You know, the little blue and yellow and red plugs. Got some in here, so hopefully I'll have the one I need. Hopefully yellow for the higher ampage, because I don't want it melting again, but I will have to stick a extra bit of wire in. Gotta get the ECU mounted up, so that'll all be in the next episode. So if you can, please make an effort to subscribe. I want 6 more subscriptions, and then I'll make it to 300, which then I can do a thank you video. So please like, comment, subscribe, and more importantly, have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. That was proper funny. I'm going to make a short video of you just going rum, rum, rum.